Today, let's sort this once and for all. Is a residential house an asset or a liability? Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Mr. Inspiration Robert Beck of World of Inspiration. I always love speaking about business, investment, career, and success. I want to encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel and also click on that bell so that you always get notifications whenever I post these wonderful videos. Share this video and also comment. I want to hear your views. And there are so many people that have fallen into the trap of building residential houses when they do not qualify. My take on residential houses is that a residential house is a luxury. And normally luxuries are good for people that can afford them. If you can afford a car, there's no one that should stop you from buying a car. If you can fuel it, maintain it, and not feel any pain, not feel any trouble, not feel the pressure of fuel, not leave it at home because you fear that when you're in traffic jam, it will consume much fuel and therefore you might kusika, you might run out of fuel. If you're always there thinking so much about the price of fuel, about maintenance, crying every day, borrowing to fuel the car, it simply means you forced yourself to buy a car at a time when you did not afford it. Now, same with a residential house. Did you know that you can be in your residential house broke? When you have a house, it is not something that you can easily convert into cash. You cannot fall sick and say, let me sell a small part of the house to give me 200,000 to go to hospital. No. I deal in real estate. Many of the residential houses that we are selling today are being sold nearly at half price. For example, you find someone putting 1 billion shillings to build a residential house. If that person wants to sell that house now, the best he can get is 500 million shillings. Half price. My take is that a residential house is a liability. You buy a liability, you acquire a liability when you can afford it. If you have 500 million and you pick 200 million shillings or 300 and build a house, it is okay. That means when you fall sick, you go to hospital, you take your children to good schools, you can buy the car you want. You're not struggling. If you have only 100 million shillings and you use it to build a residential house, then I don't understand that. Because a problem will come for 5 million shillings and you'll be forced to sell that house. I've seen people who get problems of just 10 million shillings and they find themselves selling a house of 300, 400 million shillings. That simply means you did not afford it at the time when you bought it. And some people have a weak argument. They say, I'm building or I'm buying a residential house because I want to save rent. Have you calculated and asked yourself how many months the money that builds a house can actually rent that house? In fact, the money that you put in a house to build it or to buy it can rent that house for about 20 years, 15 to 20 years. So you do not have saved rent. As an entrepreneur, if I had only 100 million shillings, I would not use it to buy a residential house, which is not going to bring money. Perhaps I would use it to buy a commercial house, let's say rentals, so that I begin bringing in income. In fact, you can buy rentals and then become one of your tenants. Let's say the rentals have 3 units. You use one of the units as you develop your cash flow, your income. Then when you reach a point when you have enough income, enough passive income, then you can build a residential house when you can afford it, when you're not going to think about selling it at just a problem of 10 million shillings. Do you know people sell houses just for school fees? A person has 4 children, they want to go back to school, a person is forced to sell a residential house. It simply means the person built a house or bought a house before they could afford it. Everywhere you go, all over Uganda, you will see incomplete buildings. And you see a building that has taken 10, 15 years without being completed. And you find that even building it to complete it, you'd need to first demolish. How do those buildings come about? There are many reasons, of course. Some of the owners die, some lose jobs, and so on. But many of the people that have incomplete buildings is because they listen to the advice that even when you have 1 million shillings, you can build a house, start building. You can do a calculation. If a house is going to be worth 200 million and you earn 1 million a month, and you do not have any savings, it simply means it will take you 200 months to build that house. So if you start on it, you may have your faith, but it may end up being one of those incomplete houses, housing thieves in the neighborhood. Now, the definition of an asset is that it is something that brings money into your pocket, while a liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. Does a residential house bring money to you, or it takes away money? A residential house definitely takes away money. It can only bring in money if you sell it, or if you rent part of it, or if you use it, let's say, for a cottage industry. You can have a residential house, and in one of the rooms you have sewing machines, or you have some other kind of work that you do. Maybe you do jewelry, maybe you process milk, maybe you process ghee, and then you sell it. Then there, the residential house has become an asset because it is bringing in money. Do not be pressured to build or buy a residential house if you cannot afford it. And by affording it, it simply means that your other basic needs are met without struggling. If you buy or build a house, but you do not have enough money to buy food, to take your children to school, to buy medicine, that is a wrong decision, because any slight challenge that requires a big amount of money, you'll sell that house, and you'll sell it under pressure, cheaply. Nobody will care that you put 300 million shillings in that house. They will give you 90. They will give you 100 million. And because of pressure, you'll be forced to accept it. In life, when you have too much pressure, what you have ceases to have value more than solving that problem. If you have a serious debt of 100 million and your house is worth 200 million shillings, what you'll see in that house is 100 million. You'll look at the value in as far as your house can save you. So you may end up selling it actually at 100 million shillings. I want to inspire young entrepreneurs. Do not be tempted to withdraw capital from your business and build a residential house. You will regret. You will kill your business. You will stunt it. You will make it take 30, 20 years to grow when it would have grown in 5, 10 years. Simply because you removed the capital to build a residential house. And when the business collapses, what will you sell to start another business? The house. No work done. Once you have a business that is earning well, let it first grow. 5 years, 10 years. Let it accumulate capital, that even when you remove significant money, you will not kill it. That is when you can start thinking of a residential house. I want to inspire young entrepreneurs. Do not be impatient with yourself. Your friends can build houses, they can buy cars. Don't be under pressure. Build your cash flow. Work around streams of income. When one stream of income begins bringing good money, let some of it be used to create another stream of income. Create about 3, 4, 5 streams of income. I'm telling you, you'll reach a point where you have enough money. You will have good cash flow. You'll buy houses from those that built without planning, the ones that I've been talking about. Don't be under pressure to build a house. Renting is not a crime. And I want to encourage ladies, please do not push your men to build houses and kill their cash flow. Be patient. The man will buy you a mansion at the right time. At the right time, everything happens. I have faith in God, and I believe that there is always God's timing. When you do your work diligently, have faith, believe, have a vision, work consistently, your time will come to afford luxuries. You'll afford the kind of car you want. You'll afford the kind of mansion you want. You'll buy your plot of land and build a house in Buziga, in Muyenga, Bukoto, wherever you want. But this takes time. There is no dream that does not take time. There is no pregnancy that can be delivered in 1 month. If a person tells you you can conceive and deliver in 1 month, 2 months, they are lying to you. I want to encourage you to watch one of my videos on the 10-year cycle of money, how money grows in 10 years, and how difficult it is to grow it and say I'm rich in less than 10 years. This is something that I also write about in my book, 4 Ways of Making Money, the 10-year cycle of money. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment. I want to hear your view. I know some are going to throw looks at me. It's okay. Release your anger. If you feel I attacked you for building a residential house, express yourself. If you feel I spoke sense and I've helped you avoid making a mistake, drop a comment there. Let the debate continue. Read other people's comments. Let's see what they are saying about this subject. Let's sort it once and for all.